Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for tuning in as part of our viewers and listeners. We do really appreciate your patronage and your support. We don't take it for granted. Allow me very quickly to request you to subscribe to our channel if you're watching for the first time and click the notification bell to allow YouTube to notify you whenever we release a video like this. Kindly share our videos and give this video likes so that we can grow together, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you for your support. Kenyans are going through myriads of problems. Currently, the floods are raging and people are dying. Pieces of property are being destroyed. In fact, Azimio is calling upon the president and the government to consider postponing the opening of schools because of the aftermath of the floods. I saw somewhere in several places in Nairobi, people are sleeping on rooftops because floods have gone to levels that are untenable. As schools are opening, even school fees is hard to come by. Life is just too difficult. We have become slaves to IMF. Very many loans are being taken and we can't account for it. And we are being told by the controller of budget and the Auditor General that there is a lot of wastage. In the midst of all this, one question that reigns in our minds: who is responsible? Why are we where we are? And most people come to a convergent agreement that one man who has messed us up, who has made us to be where we are, is none other than Wafula Chebukati, the former IEBC chairman. And this question is coming at a time when Wafula has been trending for 3 days, consecutive days, and is at number one. People are really searching. The reason being, there are unconfirmed rumors that he's seriously ill, he's on oxygen, others saying that he's dead. Now, one thing that caught my attention is that people don't have any apology for his sickness or his death. They even wish that he's dead. And rightly so, because Wafula is responsible for very many things. There are people who died during demonstrations when they were, butchered by the police when they were demonstrating to compel the government to reduce the cost of living and to give us the true picture of what happened in 2022 election. So Kenyans are very bitter. And to an extent, they are also very bitter with William Ruto, and they are telling him that we have not yet healed. William Ruto thinks that just because power was handed over peacefully, he believes that things are normal. But Kenyans are bitter and they have not yet healed. And so Wafula Chebukati is a man who is under scrutiny. People are discussing him, and that's why he's trending at number one. But this is not the first election that has been bungled. It is being said that in the history of Kenya, the only election that can be described as free and verifiable is the election that was conducted in 2002, when Kenyans were very tired of the Nyayo regime and they are voting against Moi, and Kibaki won. That is the only election that has been free, fair, and verifiable. Now, in 2013, when we had promulgated our constitution, that was after 2010 when we promulgated our constitution, and for the first time, we had a Supreme Court that was headed then by Willie Mitunga. Elections were rigged, and Raila said that we fought for this constitution, let us go to the Supreme Court. Issac, Hassan, who was leading the IEBC, was the man on the spot. He's the one who bungled the elections. And something happened that during that presidential case at the Supreme Court, because that was the first time we were going for hearing in the Supreme Court, one of the IEBC lawyers, Ahmed Nasir, described Raila as a perennial loser who does not accept election defeat. That statement did not go down well with Raila Odinga. And Issac Hassan, in one of his books, I think the book is called The Referee of a Dirty, Ugly Game. He describes how one day when Raila was very bitter, they met in Dubai. And Issac Hassan was from New York, and Raila was connecting from Morocco. And while at the flight, Raila spotted Issac Hassan and confirmed with the flight attendant whether the seat next to him was occupied or free. And the flight attendant told him it was free. So he invited Issac Hassan, and it confronted him. Why did your lawyer describe me as a perennial loser, knowing very well that I'm not a perennial loser? And this story, by the way, is found in all the print media. And I'm reading from the Star, Hassan, how I made peace with Raila in a plane. And then, yes, so this is what, so Raila told Issac Hassan, your lawyer called me a perennial loser. How could he do that? He quotes Raila as saying, and Issac Hassan says, he told me his attention was drawn to this by Maina Kiai and George Kegoro. I apologized for the statement as I had done immediately after it was made, affirming that it was way out of the line. I clarified that I had not expressly made the statement myself and that it escaped my attention in the affidavit. So because the IEBC lawyer then, in a sworn affidavit, Ahmed Nasir called Raila a perennial loser. And in that flight, Issac Hassan apologized to Raila Amolo Odinga. And this is what he says, that Hassan says Raila accepted his apology and the two then chatted cordially for the rest of their flight to Nairobi. As a piece of token, Hassan bought some cologne for the ODM leader and his wife Aida Odinga in the in-flight duty-free. Why am I giving you this story, ladies and gentlemen? You know, right now, people wish that Wafula is dead. They are very bitter. In fact, Wafula Chebukati, I've always said this, cannot walk very freely. That people are very mad if they could get Wafula Chebukati somewhere in a corridor, they would even kill him because they are very mad. People are really suffering because of him. Now, I want to show you that in light of what has been happening, people think that he's in ICU and all this. Wafula Chebukati must ensure that he apologizes to Kenyans, because things have happened that should have not happened. And if he was to do what Issac Hassan did, number one, he would apologize to the victims of police brutality, those who are maimed and those who lost their relatives during the demonstration. People went for the demonstrations because Wafula had installed William Ruto as the president. And I was looking at it this way. Issac Hassan took his moment and apologized on behalf of Abdel Nasir, who had called Raila a perennial loser. And sometimes in life, you need to apologize so that you can be free. Because Wafula Chebukati is not free. I want you to look at Wafula Chebukati and maybe David Maraga. They both served this government. But David is working very freely. In fact, if today people would hear that Maraga, who is the former the president of the Supreme Court, who is sick, people would be praying for him today, because this man is a gallant Kenyan who stood firm and nullified an election that was not free and verifiable. So Wafula should apologize to those who have been maimed, those who are victims of post-election violence, if you ask me, those whose relatives were killed by the police, if he has to be free. Number two, he has to apologize to all Kenyans who are now suffering, because you've even seen those who voted for this regime crying out. The other day, the farmers from Kiambu were crying for over avocado taxes, and they regret why they did this. And it is because Wafula Chebukati was part and parcel of this. So he must apologize to all Kenyans who are now buying basic commodities at exorbitant prices. Kenyans who are staring at this government forcing in LGBTQ through the back door. The other day, the same Supreme Court said These people have got the LGBTQ plus family, have got a right to association. This government is forcing people to start taking GMO. We are about to sell our state corporations, including the Kenya Seed Corporation. Wafula Chebukati must apologize to all Kenyans if he has to be free. Otherwise, people still feel that this man is a social misfit. Number three, Wafula Chebukati must take his time to apologize to the Azimio supporters and the Azimio leadership, because Kenyans are suffering. But if there are people who are really deeply hurt, the Azimio fraternity, because they voted and they knew that they wanted to change this country. Both the leadership of Azimio, beginning with Raila Amolo Odinga, Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, people like Oparanya, coming down to the supporters of Azimio. He must offer an apology publicly so that he can be free. Otherwise, the blood of those who are killed will continue to haunt him. It goes all the way to people like Musando, who were killed when he was presiding over the election in 2017. So he must offer that apology to the Azimio fraternity. Number four, he must apologize to people like Roslyn Akombe. He must apologize to Irene Masit and Cherera, those who are now running away for their dear lives. They have sought asylum. They have left back their families in their own country because Wafula Chebukati decided that he wanted to dine with the enemy. He must apologize to them. If he does not do this, ladies and gentlemen, he will continue to be haunted. And I can assure you that the tears of Kenyans who are crying, courtesy of the tears, Wafula shall never know peace, because there are very many people who have died, very many people are suffering just because of one man. And I know they are together in this with those people who came together to ensure that the will of the people were overturned. I don't know what you think, but even as people, cry, others are saying this man should die, I told you that it is the nature of human being that people will sympathize with you when you are about to die. People will sympathize with your family. But in this sense, you realize that people are happy about his death. It is because of he is one man, he's suffering. But people are looking at what he has caused and what very many families are going through. This is the saddest thing that has ever happened. In fact, it reminds me of Samuel Kivuiti, who was heading the ECK, Electoral Commission of Kenya. He died a very miserable death. A lesson to all Kenyans: when you are given an opportunity to serve people, serve with honesty, because whatever you do will come to haunt you. The story of Issac Hassan, when he offered an apology, is a lesson to Chebukati. He must come out and apologize. As I've always told you, Raila's nature of being a statesman is one that is good and bad at the same time. Raila has this penchant of being magnanimous, his magnanimity. He worked with Moi when Moi detained him for 9 years. He worked with Kibaki after Kibaki stole his elections. He worked with Uhuru Kenyatta. Now he has forgiven William Ruto, and it is normalcy. Everything is going on as normal. I don't know what we should pick from Raila, but his nature of being statesman is one that amazes me. I don't know. But do you think that Wafula will ever know peace if he doesn't apologize to Kenyans? Let him emulate the apology of Issac Hassan. It is only that Issac did not apologize to all Kenyans, but at least he got an opportunity, and he took the advantage of that opportunity when it presented itself. Wafula must be free only if he will apologize to us. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.